The Practice Manual of Noble Tārā Kurukullā. Translated by the Dharmacakra Translation Committee under the patronage and supervision of 84,000 translating the words of the Buddha, and read by Angus Cargill. Chapter 1. Homage to noble Manjushri, the youthful one. Homage to the noble goddess Tārā. The Tantra of the arising of Tārā is an ocean of yogic practice. Although its scripture and practice manual had declined and disappeared, there was the meditative absorption of Tārā, chief among Tantras. Once that too became lost, this practice manual appeared. For the sake of many beings, and as a compendium of the Tantras that elaborately teach the yogic practices, Lokeshvara, Lord of the world, taught this manual of practice. Listen, all bodhisattvas. This method that benefits all beings is based on seeing that the world is without refuge and tormented by the three types of suffering. Receive this with great reverence. In order to pacify the concepts of the world, all Buddhas teach this manual of practice on the holy Potala mountain, Manjushri, Padmapani, Jaya, Savarnivarana Viskambin, Sagaramati, Maitreya, and others, the full gathering, all heard these words of the Dharma, rejoiced and bowed their heads to the ground in veneration. The children of the victorious ones mastered it and praised it. They worshipped it with song, melody, and various types of dance. Yakshas, Rakshasas, the world of ghosts, various maidens, the heavenly bodies, thunderbolt bearers, lords of the earth, Naga girls who live in the billowing seas, where they cast coquettish glances, the guardians of the netherworld, and the daughters of the Surasiddhas, these all worshipped. Gandharva queens with eye-catching breasts, female knowledge holders, Kinnaris, Himavat's daughters, as well as others, all spoke in this way. For us there is no refuge, yet this teaching of the Buddha is the refuge for those who have none. Protector of those without a refuge, protector of the world, you engender bliss and great wonder about this teaching. The Lord, hearing these words of the assembly, pronounced the secret mantra, which he himself mastered, and upon hearing this king of mantras, all the females there experienced numerous forms of the bliss of final Buddhahood. By the touch of the Vajra, their bodies released the juice, and casting sidelong glances, they impatiently stamped their feet on the ground. Carried away by the bliss of passion, they let their juices flow. May the Protector observe this and dispense timely words to these celestial girls, the mantra of Kurukullā that enthralls wandering beings, and the practice of painting in combination with this mantra. When the Blessed One, the Protector of the world, had proclaimed his intent, he, the Master of the world, began to teach the stages of the ritual. The method for creating an image of Kurukullā, the mere painting of which brings fruition to the practitioner, I will now explain in full. Who can create the picture? On which day of the month and at which hour? That I shall now explain in accordance with the prescriptions of the arising of Tārā. The one who paints the picture should have reddish eyes, as well as red hands and feet, eyes like those of a bird, and the legs of a black antelope. It is such a person who shall draw the Saviouress. In the first month of spring, on the 8th day of Kaitra, halfway through the second watch, this is when the eyes of Tārā should be drawn. The artist must eat the 3 sweets and abstain from fish, meat, and alcohol. Always dressed in red, he must be smeared with a red fragrant paste. Having brought forth a mind of loving kindness, he should bathe at dawn in a sanctified location. Then, having changed into a garment of 3 pieces, he should correctly draw the enchantress, single-faced with elongated eyes, 4-armed, and of the colour of Kurukullā, 16 years old, and displaying an amorous sentiment, and puffed up with pride on account of her magical feminine charm. The canvas should be woven with thread spun by a female of fair complexion. Both she and the weaver should eat milk porridge. Upon a lotus seat, wearing an upper garment of red cloth, jewel earrings, and a jewel diadem, she displays the mudra granting fearlessness with her lower right hand, and with her second right hand holds an arrow that she draws to the tip of her ear. In her upper left hand she holds a bow, and in the second left a red utpala. Crowned by Amitabha, dwelling in a cave in the mountains, she is Kurukullā. Below Kurukullā is Rahu, and above him Kamadeva with his spouse. Above Kamadeva there is a moon disk, and upon the moon disk a red lotus seat. On this seat one must paint the Blessed Lady with all her beautiful features, and then consecrate her image. In front of the painting, from the 8th through the full moon day, one should perform the 18-fold puja and recite the mantra. This is the heart essence of Tārā. Om Kurukullā Hri Hum Svaha. This is the mantra. Having done the preliminary propitiation consisting of 100,000 recitations, next, on a Buddha day in the month of Kartika, Vaisakha, or Asadha, having bathed at dawn and observed the restoration of vows ceremony, the practitioner should offer a complete puja. He should present a feast for the congregation of listeners, and next offer a feast with gifts for the community of those practicing the secret mantra of the great vehicle. Placing his right knee on the ground, and with his robe thrown over one shoulder, he should receive the desired accomplishments. He should salute and ask the pardon of the Sangha of listeners and the community of those who delight in the great vehicle. Having gone to the place where the painting of the Blessed Lady is displayed, this knowledge holder should, for the sake of the desired accomplishments, enter meditation and recite the mantra 100,000 times for each of its syllables. With the first third, insight increases. With the second third, enthrallment is achieved. And with the final third, the person will also neutralize poison. By mad and haughty women, and by the entire world, this practitioner will be honored. Because of familiarity with the practice, this mantra holder may do as he wishes with beautiful goddesses. The mere sound of his name will cause those of incomparable poison to flee, and even those as brilliant as the leader of the hooded will become just like a fish. Those who engage in recitation, by means of their power of speech, render speechless even the experts who possess the majestic power of spells. Holders of mantra, who ride elephants and horses, embraced by their beautiful consorts who clasp their necks, these are conquered by the power of the best among mantra adepts. Their minds partake of the pleasures of perfect kingdoms. Rati from Kamadeva and Parvati from Shiva. Similarly, Shri from Narayana, Shachi from Akandala, the white Amalagisavarini from Vakaspati, and Lakshmi from the sustainer of the earth, these they win by means of the mantra. Those who possess the mantra and meditate on the Blessed Lady will gain various treasures, gold, silver, earrings, garments, and other such wealth. Their minds will partake of whatever they wish for, without exception. Having taken the kingdom from the king, the fruit from the tree that transcends the senses, and the waters from the nagas, rivers, and oceans, absorbed in the mantra, they drink and eat while purifying through the mantra. For people without the mantra, no enjoyment can be won. Wild elephants, the best horses of noble breed, the best snakes, hooded and venomous, crocodiles, water buffalo, and rhinoceroses, these they summon by the power of their mantra. If also they look with eyes free from wonder, the mantra adepts will thereby see. If with the eye of compassion mantra adepts regard the world, which is stricken by all sorts of suffering, they will become Tārā, benefiting the world like the wish-fulfilling jewel. The entire world will become of Tārā and know peace. Having overcome the demons, they bring down a rain of wealth. As a wish-fulfilling tree, they grant beings whatever they wish for. Having drawn to them all the riches of the lords of wealth without exception, they give it away for the benefit of all beings. Likewise, for the benefit of the destitute in the world, Tārā creates clothes, seats, homes, and parasols. For those suffering on islands due to the wreckage of their merchant vessels, Tārā creates boats, ships, and so on. The yogins who meditate on this Tārā will first experience some suffering. Yet, once that is over, such people will soon discover feasts. Next they will acquire garments, just as they will meet with noble women. Then they will enjoy the beetle. That which they wish for will be obtained without asking, even if one is celibate. One may engage with a woman of supreme, celestial birth. Those who take pleasure in killing sentient beings will not succeed in this discipline. Those who delight in the 10 virtues and are single-minded in their devotion to the great vehicle will, in accordance with Vajradharma's words, hereby experience the supreme accomplishment. This was the first chapter, the instructions for the practice of painting. Chapter 2. Through the method of worship in accordance with the Dharma, one will attain Dharmata, and oneself will become the Dharmadhatu. That shall now be correctly explained. Now follows the practice method of the wish-fulfilling tree. One should visualize, arising from the syllable rum, a wish-fulfilling tree. As a transformation of the Utpala, it should be visualized to the left. A rain of various riches falls from the middle of the sky, and so fulfills wishes and desires. The one who meditates like this becomes the Lord of Wealth. The sentient beings of the 4 continents one must summon through the light rays of the mind, and so generously provide them with the gifts that consist of the 7 jewels. The jewel of the foremost teacher, the jewel born from the sea, the jewel of a woman, the jewel of a horse, the jewel of a sword, the jewel of an elephant. Such jewels should be offered mentally to the Buddhas. The jewel of a woman adorned with ornaments and displaying abundant attractions should always be offered to the Buddhas by those who wish for the fruit of Buddhahood. Through this, all Buddhas and knowledge holders will be achieved. Replete with his treasures, a foremost teacher, a lord of wealth, should be offered to the Buddhas by those who wish for the fruit of Buddhahood. When, likewise, the other jewels are respectfully surrendered, one will turn into Vajradharma, and so become the benefactor of all beings. This was the practice method of the wish-fulfilling tree. All the Buddhas are mind itself. By mind itself one is liberated. bondage is broken by the mind. Through mind, one attains freedom. Apart from in the mind, things and entities are not seen anywhere at all. Hence there is no perfection to be seen, apart from Buddhahood and all the accomplishments. The environments and sentient beings, the elements and their derivatives, have been declared to be mind only by those who possess the undefiled special vision. Therefore, one should make every effort to cleanse the mirror of the mind. Faults, which are by nature extrinsic, will gradually be utterly exhausted. From the first of the vowels arises a stainless full moon. Meditating on mind itself as that moon, one places upon it the seed syllable. The fourth in the sibilant group is positioned atop the syllable of fire, joined with the syllable I, and adorned with the two skies. A multicolored light from that cleanses beings of their impurities, and turns this billion-fold world and other such universes into the field of space. Having entered the Kurukulla mountain, it rouses Tārā, and as she is summoned, she is made to be present before oneself. The wise must then, from the syllable, send forth a great cloud of offerings: flowers, incense and lamps, perfume, food, and the like, gestures, garlands, theatrical shows, songs, and other such offerings. The three jewels are my refuge. I confess all my wrongdoings. I rejoice in the virtues of wandering beings. I set my mind on the enlightenment of a Buddha. These words should be spoken 3 times, after which one requests departure. When the mind has been made to abide through love, it should again be placed there. Having engendered a mind of compassion, one should as well bring forth a mind of joy. Afterward, one should regard everything with equanimity, in its condition of being mind only. Then, in order to discard the ordinary, the mind must once more be emptied. The 5 aggregates of the process of re-existence shall be consumed by the fire of emptiness. Om Shunyata Jnana Vajraspavavat Mako Hom. For a while one should practice this emptiness yoga, and so bring the mind refreshing rest. Recollecting the vows taken earlier, one should once more focus on simply the seed syllable. An exclusive nirvana would mean deceiving sentient beings. How shall I liberate them from the endless ocean of existence? Contemplating thus, the one who possesses love will abandon the emptiness devoid of mind. A mind that is of the nature of the field of phenomena must be brought forth through mind itself. By the Buddha's blessing arises the seed syllable, and from that which is called an utpala. On the utpala there is a moon disk arisen from the syllable a. On that moon again is the seed syllable, from which emanate rays of light. Thereby all realms of the world are seen to be thoroughly purified. Once they are purified and illumined, one should perceive that great numbers of Buddhas melt into light and enter the seed syllable. From that arises Tārā. As explained, the goddess is of the color of madder rose and adorned with all of the ornaments. First one should develop the samaya form and then summon the wisdom circle. This occurs in an instant. The wisdom circle remains in front with the application of the samaya seal. They should enter by the open pathway. The palms of the hands are joined, and the 2 little fingers visualized. The middle fingers are joined at the tips, and the ring fingers are between them. The index fingers are joined to the middle ones, and the thumbs are bent low. Having formed the Samaya seal in this way, one must summon the circle and cause it to enter. With the following verses to the Buddhas, one should request empowerment. Just as Bodhivajra offers the great worship to the Buddhas, so too, in order to protect me, please now grant it to me, O Kavajra. With the so-called empowerment of the victor, Lokana and the other four arise. The consecration of a king with flowers, great ones, bestow that upon me. The empowerment by the great Vajra, which is venerated throughout the three realms, and which originates from the abodes of three secrets, that shall be given by all the Buddhas. As the Buddhas empower Tārā, she becomes crowned with the Dharma. With red light of different hues, she illuminates the three worlds. One who has obtained the jewel of empowerment will attain all accomplishments. By means of the described ritual, one must practice stably for half a year, and offer Bali at the 3 times. By means of this mantra, and through the ritual of cane or cakes, one will obtain a sign during a dream. The sword, the accomplishment of the nether world; invisibility, the extraction of essences; anonymity, celestial realms; foot unguent and eye ointment. The signs will be seen in dreams, and the accomplishments themselves will manifest. If one becomes fond of these, minor accomplishments will be attained through Tārā. Having become a universal monarch, one attains the kingdom and the pleasures of the senses. For the one endowed with meditation and recitation, these are even attained in dreams. At the final moon among the 6, recite delightedly for 1 night and form the Utpala Mudra. As one recites, it suddenly bursts into flames. By the power of this mudra, Brahma, Indra, Upendra, Rudra, and so forth, together with their spouses, are summoned and arrive enthralled. From then on, one will be accomplished in every respect and be freed from the bonds of samsara. Just as a lotus will be unstained by water soiled with mud, when touched, quicksilver becomes many, yet when coalesced, it once more becomes one. Within the state of omniscience, the same is the case with the accomplished one's mind. When touched by perfected quicksilver, copper turns to gold. Likewise, when touched by the perfected mantra, practitioners of mantra will become the bodies of the Buddha. They attain the station of the Lord of the Gods and become lords of the triple universe. When born in the family of the Buddha, they become turners of the wheel. They are born, go forth into homelessness, practice the difficult conduct, and as they also engage in the conduct of enlightenment, they recollect Buddhahood itself. Likewise, they descend from the gods, manifest emanations, turn the wheel of Dharma, attain the great nirvana, and depart for a cemetery. Having left their bodies in the triple world, the victorious ones, by means of the enjoyment body, return again to the pure abodes, and so the emanation body emerges. By means of the procedures of books and paintings, there is engagement with the Dharma body as well. Hence the mantra, thereby established, has indeed been taught by the Buddhas. All the blessed ones, the thus gone ones, then addressed the great Bodhisattva Vajrapani so as to examine his noble mind. How, O Vajrapani, could the Buddhas, the blessed ones who possess Vajra bodies, who possess Dharma Dhatu bodies, possibly die at some location on earth? Vajrapani, in turn, offered the following words to those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The Bodhisattvas have asked me this: how could Buddhas who possess Vajra bodies, Dharmadhatu bodies, bodies of non-duality, possibly die at some location on earth? And he continued, "Listen, O Bodhisattvas, the so-called nirvana means a passage to the realm of bliss." "O Vajrapani," inquired the Bodhisattvas, "do the Buddhas, the Blessed Ones, go to the realm of bliss after they relinquish the Dharma body, or do they go to the realm of bliss by means of the enjoyment body, having left behind their emanation body? How could they depart, having left behind the Dharma body?" Vajrapani replied, "A person with magical powers may employ magic for some specific purpose, and so also succeed in achieving that purpose. Likewise, accomplished since the beginning, the Buddhas engage in the act of accepting birth to provide for sentient beings when a universal monarch has gone beyond. When a Buddha goes beyond, a universal monarch appears. In this world, there is never a time when both of them are absent. The Buddha, the best among those who walk on 2 feet, provided guidance to beings in need of guidance. After having remained for 80 years, he departed for the abode of the victorious ones. Having left behind their magical illusion of a Buddha, they remain in great bliss, which is the palace of the victorious ones. Within the perfect peace of great bliss, they abide in a form that is in all ways delightful. An agent, eternal and singular, thus the sages regard the mind. Yet it is taught that it is not of such an essence. Rather, it is held to be composed of moments. The victorious ones will relinquish their bodies for those deluded because of holding on to a self, and for those who always want things to be permanent, so that they may be introduced to impermanence. Those who are of the nature of all things, and whose minds know everything, cannot definitively be said to be absent anywhere. Based on the relative truth, and for those in this billion-fold universe and elsewhere who are in need of guidance, the Buddhas teach the Dharma throughout the extent of space. There is no real birth of a Buddha, nor is there any real death of a Buddha. Where everything is of the same taste, this is the nature of arising and ceasing. The Buddhas are of the same body within the Dharmadhatu, and they are free of the 5 obscurations. The body of the profound and the vast, it is as the essence of this reality that a Buddha remains. Since neither is the case, they do from the beginning not exist. Since from the beginning they have not arisen, they do not arise, and they do not cease. The Bodhisattvas asked, "How is it, O Vajrapani, that the Buddhas, the Blessed Ones, the teachers of the 3 worlds, neither arise nor cease?" "Now, O Bodhisattvas, what do you think?" asked Vajrapani in return. "Does the one who is the Buddha exist or not exist?" "O Vajrapani, Buddhas neither exist nor do they not exist," replied the Bodhisattvas. Vajrapani then said, "Indeed, it is the unborn that is born. The born will never be born. When investigated in terms of the ultimate, they are unborn since the beginning. Likewise, the dead do not die, nor does the one who is not dead. The non-abiding does not abide, and the one who abides is not in need of abiding. If that which has not been born were subject to decay, or if the unborn were subject to arising, then a rabbit's horn would also be subject to arising and cessation. If that which exists were to arise, that which has arisen would arise once more, Also, if that which does not exist were to arise, the barren woman's son would arise too. Therefore, everything is ignorance, formations that possess the three characteristics. The worlds that possess the five aggregates are known as mere appearance. The bodhisattvas should understand the nirvana that pertains to the Buddhas, the blessed ones, through this reasoning. The bodhisattvas asked, when nothing is produced, what are mantras? What are tantras? And how does one visualize the mandala? How then is accomplishment gained? Vajrapani replied, originating in dependence, this is how things arise. Likewise, depending on mantras, mudras, and so forth, the accomplishments are gained. The accomplishments are relative, and so are the transcendences of the Buddha. Buddhahood, the state of Vajrasattva, is perfectly accomplished in terms of the relative. This was the second chapter. Chapter 3. The progression of the ritual for reciting the mantra shall now be explained. By merely understanding it, the practitioner will reach success. Coral is used for enthrallment. Pushkara removes poison. And with crystal, insight will expand. These are to be used in 3 activities. In a pit the shape of an asvatha tree leaf, which is the pure nature of the place of birth, one should light a fire with wood from the ashoka tree. One must then, in the prescribed way, perform 108 offerings of red lotus flowers. The fire should be obtained from the home of an actor. The offerings are to be smeared with the 3 sweets and presented together with the root mantra. Next comes the diagram. One should draw a triangular mandala on cotton smeared with the mark of the moon. Within it, one writes entreating words that include the names of the practitioner and the one to be won. Let me succeed in attracting such and such a person. As one enriches with the root mantra, one should write with a paint of liquid luck, blood from one's left ring finger, camphor, kumkuma, and musk. If one wishes to increase insight, one should, in the same pit as before, burn arka and karavira with the sacrificial fire used for Brahmin oblations. One should offer atarusaka leaves or sweet flag 10,000 times. For removing poison, one should light a fire in the same basin with the wood of the sandal tree, and in that offer the flowers of the pindadakara. Thus one will become a curer of all poison. One will heal the different pains and bring peace. This is the rite of the Garuda Knowledge Tantra. On the paths of the triple universe, one will attract and engage with all those who are known as noble women by means of oblation and the diagram. Loving kindness through looking with impassioned love, it is through such a mind that one performs enthrallment. Having enthralled all beings, one establishes them in the enlightenment of the Buddha. This is the rite of enthrallment. The so-called knower of everything cannot be attained without insight. The one who wishes to attain it should therefore develop incisive insight. Through the practice of recitation and oblations, one will encounter all phenomena. The mind that is pure, bright, and stainless. That, indeed, is the transcendent insight. The yogin will be liberated. The leaves of the grabidana, sati, licorice, brahmani, magadi, and honey, these are to be eaten. This is the ritual for increasing insight. Next there is honey with ghee, chakrankita, and the good root. By applying this to the place struck by the poisonous fangs, or by drinking it, one will neutralize the poison. This is the medicine that overcomes poison. Jari and Chandalika, Snehamali and ghee, as well as dead intestinal worms, when eaten, these effect enthrallment. This is the medicine for performing enthrallment. The removal of poison brings peace in the world. From the development of insight comes Buddhahood. Turning the wheel of Dharma will be accomplished in an instant by the one who practices enthrallment. For accomplishing the benefit of oneself and others, there is no other means within the great vehicle. The practice of a spell just once will immediately be convincing. Thinking of the syllable "hri" at the vessel of frenzy will cause women to drip. Thinking of it upon the tongue or in the center of the heart will engender insights. When meditated upon in relation to the bite of the fangs, this beautiful syllable of Dharma will destroy poison. This heart of Tārā conquers the three worlds. That should be understood by those who love. As the negativities of speech completely disappear, one will be able to remove poison. When those of the mind disappear, insight will increase, and when the flaws of the body are exhausted, one will bring about enthrallment. Hence, since this world is attached to non-virtue, it does not gain accomplishment. Therefore, O sons of the victorious ones, you must act to benefit and give up evil. By means of the specific gestures, the faults associated with the body certainly disappear, and through the mantra, so do the faults associated with the composites of the tongue. The faults associated with the mind fade away in those whose minds delight in meditation. With the joy of stainless faith, the cognitions of the body become unmoving. That is the time of the Buddha's blessing. The one who sees with an eye free from evil, and who possesses compassion, will become king of the three worlds. With his power of merit superior because of generosity, he becomes the foremost on the surface of the earth, a benefactor endowed with diligence. Having given up laziness, and by means of wisdom, he will not experience even a bit of the suffering of hell. Therefore, one relies on the wealth of the compassion of the sons of the victorious ones, and on their diligent conduct. Perceiving the Buddhas in the center of the sky, one regards the Buddhas by the power of concentration. Even in sleep, one should always perceive oneself to be surrounded by the Buddhas. At the time of death, the wise proceed to the summit of Mount Meru. Buddhas rising in various vehicles, these are seen by the ones who are compassionate by nature. Doing evil produces the perceptions of the city of hell. This is the Tantra for purification. Where there is desire, there is poison. Insight also is present there. Therefore, how can Pandara be regarded as the queen of speech? She is indeed the curer of poison, abiding on the level of Hayagriva. Manifesting as the speech of the Vajra of passion, she enthralls the three worlds. This is the practice of the Tantra of the Desire family. Next follows another method. Having created a triangular mandala, and in addition another triangle, the wise must, starting from Indra's quarter, write the syllable Om and so forth. The 6 seed syllables are in the 6 corners, and the seed syllable of Dharma is in the center. Placed within a Pu syllable, it should be drawn on the doorstep. This is the Tantra for driving away snakes. Now, to bring women fortune, another method shall be explained. One should draw a lotus flower with 7 petals and apply the 7 syllables to it. In its center one should, according to the enthrallment procedure, write the name of the person to be enthralled, supported by a pair of Hri syllables. One should draw this on birch bark or on cotton with flowers and make it into a charm that is to be worn on the upper arm. The master will become the slave of a woman, and kings will turn into servants. By means of the extremely pure and clean, this mantra can be removed. This is the ritual for enthrallment. Next follows the diagram for protection. One should draw a 4-petal lotus, and then in its center a moon. In the east one should draw an arrow, and in the south a bow. In the west is a hand showing the mudra of fearlessness, and in the north one draws a lotus. In the central moon is the one to be protected, surrounded by the 7 seed syllables. As for the outer perimeter, it is adorned with a garland of utpalas. Having drawn this on birch bark, one should wear it on one's upper arm. Moreover, children, the old and the young, will be self-protected by the diagram. If one desires the attainment of a lord, one should draw a citron, and in its center a bow. Inside the bow one should draw a jewel-shaped lotus bud. In the center of the lotus bud is the syllable drum, surrounded by the 7 syllables. One should draw this on a golden tablet and keep it in the upper part of the house. One should surround it with an outer garland of lotuses, and on the 8th or 12th day of the month, using a jar containing the 5 types of jewels, one should take it down. Having washed and worshipped it, one should recite the mantra 108 times. Within a year, one will become the equal of Kubera. Such a charm should be worn correctly. Next follows another method. On a Tuesday, if one finds a cowrie shell lying with its face up, one should place it in the palm of the hand and recite the mantra 100,000 times. If one plays dice, one will win. Taking up the cowrie, one should recite the Kurukulla mantra 108 times. On the 12th or 8th day of the month, one should perform ablutions and make offerings. Then one should wrap the shell in silk and wear it on one's arm. Whoever does so will become a great master of riches. If one puts this shell in a box and hides it in the ground, one will every day obtain a kasha's worth of wealth. This is the tantra on obtaining wealth, a kingdom, royalty, and the fruit. This completes the 3rd chapter. Chapter 4. The mere seeing of the colored powder quickly brings about the attainment of Buddhahood, as one progresses through the stages of perception of the mandala. That shall now be explained correctly. 4-sided and with 4 doors, it is adorned with 4 arches. In its center one should place the goddess, in a vaga form of good color. In the east an arrow should be drawn, and in the south a bow. In the west a hand of fearlessness, and in the north an utpala. All are in the border areas, the vajra, the wheel, and so forth. Wearing a red upper garment, and with his face covered by a red silken cloth, the disciple should enter there. At this point, the sattva vajri mudra should be displayed. A flower should be offered to the circle, and the words pratika vajraho be spoken. Then, as the cover is removed, the mandala is to be revealed. In the best case, the flower has fallen in the center. If it has fallen on the arrow, the student will be capable of performing the acts of enthrallment. If it has fallen on the giver of fearlessness, the student should study the removal of poison. If it has fallen on the utpala, it is the development of insight that should be studied. And if it has fallen on the bow, omniscient wakefulness is to be pursued. At the time of the entry, the following should be declared. You must not speak of this supreme secret of all the thus gone ones in front of anyone who has not entered this mandala. Your samaya vow would definitely degenerate. Having failed to avoid the distressful, you would certainly die and fall into hell. After that, the samayas are to be given with the words, "The 3 jewels must never be abandoned," and so forth, just as it is extensively taught in the Tantra. The oath is to be administered with the following words. If any among the great samaya vows of the King of Dharma that you have received from me should degenerate, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who engage in the supreme conduct of secret mantra will extract and consume the great blood and the great heart. I am the guardian of the Dharma. Do not displease me. You should always wear red clothes, a red mala, vermilion powder, apply red perfume, and adorn yourself with red jewels and the like. With the mind of passion you must meditate, just as you must recite the mantra with a passionate mind. The palaces are to be painted with red ochre or sindura. Vermilion powder, saffron, red sandal, or coral powder, all of these are appropriate. Karketa is used for the drawing, whether for oblations, the circle, or inauguration. Red substances are always to be applied. These are indicative of the saffron of the Buddha. You must not kill living beings, not speak what is not true, not take what has not been given, and not associate with another's wife. 3 acts of the body, 4 of speech, and 3 of the mind. Give up these unvirtuous acts. Dharma, material things, love, and fearlessness, you must always practice this 4-fold generosity. If you possess nothing, be generous through acts of meditation. Also, you must always display the 4 means of magnetizing, along with the body of the perfections, the powers, and the masteries. You must not look down on females, particularly not anyone by the name of Tārā. Even a householder practitioner of secret mantra may not take such a woman. In a town, at a gate, in a marketplace, wherever Tārā resides, in a high street, at a 4-road junction, at the side of a wall, and in particular at a 3-road junction, you should always pay homage at such places, offer praise, and present great offerings. Having made such places your dwelling, you should practice the mantra and so forth. Seeing a woman whose name is Tārā, of white and red complexion and beautiful eyes, the yogin should respectfully pay homage to her in his mind. Upon banduka flowers, the karavira holder as well as other red flowers, the practitioner should never step. As the vows are given in this way, there is the clean and pure water of divine substance. The disciple should be purified with the water in the 4 vases and the water of mantra. In the right order, the master should then wash him with the gestures of the arrow, the bow, and so forth. First, by means of the vase with the arrow, and secondly, the one with the bow. The third is the one with the hand of fearlessness, and the fourth the one with the utpala. Just as the lion of the Shakyas received from the Buddhas and their offspring, the Vajra holders, the empowerment for the great kingdom, so also do I empower you, the very essence of all the Buddhas, that indeed you have found in this mandala. Beholding these coloured powders, the Buddhas are thoroughly delighted. Here there is no death and disease, no grief and no poverty. Through this pure great vehicle, you will attain complete enlightenment. Empowered through the arrow and the other three, the disciple has been made a vessel for the Dharma, and is, in accordance with the ritual, to be granted the secrets. First, one should train in the method of warding off the Nagas. Nomo Ratnatraya, Nama Sava Buddhi Bodhi Sattvebhaya, Namo Stasarpa Pudgalya, Nama Samastebhyo Buddha Kotibhaya, Tadyata Om Hri 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 Sava Naganam, Ananta Kulanam, Vasukikulanam, Taksakakulanam, Sankapalakulanam, Kakotakulanam, Padmakulanam, Mahapadmakulanam, Kulikakulanam, Varahakulanam, Pundarikakulanam, Ganakulanam, Megakulanam, Jaladakulanam, Jaladarakulanam, Jimutakulanam, Samvatakulanam, Vasantakulanam, Airavatakulanam, Kumudakulanam, Kalarakulanam, Saugandikakulanam, Hana Sarena Banda Kapena Tadaya Utpalena Bitanam, Abhayam Dehi Pralayakala Iva Jaladaram, Avataraya Vasam, Tan Nagan Vasikuru Kuru Pu Kulapaya, Kulapaya Pu Pu Om Kurukulle Hri Hom Pat Svaha Pat. With this mantra, one should draw the mandala with gaur dung. As prescribed, one should draw an 8-petaled lotus with sandalwood paste and place on its petals, starting from the eastern one, Ananta and the others, the 8 Nagas, using candied sugar and bdellium. When the moon is in the Rohini lunar house, one should perform 108 recitations, offer incense to the Nagas, and make offerings. If it does not begin to rain, they should be washed with wine and tormented with the fire of Kadira wood. Doing this will bring rain. However, if the Nagas do not send rain, leprosy will break out. This is to be carried out by a knowledge holder who is a performer of rites. Afterward they should be gathered and released in a great river. May the gods send rain, and may the crops be excellent. May the people prosper, and the king be in accord with the Dharma. Thus one should perform the dedication. One who wishes to stop excessive rainfall should obtain a snake from a snake charmer, anoint it with sandalwood paste, and feed it milk. One should pronounce this mantra over it 7 times, put it in a red, unbaked jar, and seal it with the Great Seal. Breaking the vase will make the rain stop immediately. Later, one should offer a feast for the gathering, or make offerings to the Sangha of listeners, and give food and drink to boys and girls. Doing this will delight the Nagas. If, when it rains, one does not do this, the Nagas will be displeased, and so one will contract leprosy. The king, along with his sons and queens, should bathe on the 5th day of the waning moon. They should obtain the root of prachangira, blend it with milk or ghee, and having poured it into a silver dish, they should drink it. If the dish is offered to an ordained monk, there will not be any danger from snakes for 1 year. Moreover, if, because of its unvirtuous actions, a snake does bite, the snake itself will die. Success comes with 7 repetitions of the mantra. Also, if one wishes to cure leprosy, one should, by means of this very mantra, neutralize a poison and then ingest it. This will cure leprosy. If one recites the root mantra over water and then uses that water to wash the wound from a snake bite, that will remove the poison. Moreover, if one wishes to see nagas, one should pronounce the mantra upon a red utpala petal 100,000 times for each of its syllables. The petal should then be tossed into a pond, or the like, that is inhabited by nagas and blessed. This will make the females of the nagas tremble. They will request orders from the practitioner. What shall we do, O Lord? The practitioner of mantra should then request what he wishes. This was the 4th chapter. Chapter 5. Once, when young Rahula Bhadra had gone to Rajgir to receive alms, he went to the Venuvana grove and there descended into a long pond to wash his alms bowl. While there, he, the son of Yasodhara, was mistaken for a white ascetic, and so was pulled into the pond. At that time, the young Rahula Bhadra recited this spell. No sooner had he recited the mantra than, just like someone emerging from his house, he arrived in the presence of the Blessed One. Having approached the Lord, he said, "Father, I have seen the power of the secret mantra which you have granted." The Blessed One asked, "Where have you seen that?" "In the presence of the Nagas. Therefore I request that the Blessed One teach this mantra, so that other beings too may be protected by it." So then, at that very time and on that occasion, the Lord dispatched Vajrapani and benevolently granted this mantra and this manual of instruction to the listeners and the bodhisattvas, to the monks and nuns, and to the male and female lay practitioners. Therefore, children of noble family, one who creates a sandalwood mandala and reads this mantra and this manual of instructions will not be harmed by poison, will not die from poison, and will have no fear of boils, eczema, leprosy, disease, nagas, snakes, tigers, and other beasts of prey, weapons, enemies, poverty, or untimely death. None of these will occur. In order to protect the teachings, the Lord granted Mahakala the demoness Hariti, whom he had nourished from his own alms bowl. She, however, was lacking in fortune because of her former bad deeds. She was not agreeable to Mahakala, and so he did not stay with her, did not love her, and did not protect the teachings either. She therefore became depressed, and in order to enthrall Mahakala, this Kurukulla compendium was taught. From then on, her fortune became vast and excellent. For that reason, children of noble family, if you wish to enthrall sentient beings, you should familiarize yourselves with this mantra and this manual of instructions. It also came to pass that Sunanda's son was born handsome and good-looking, athletic and in possession of auspicious marks, and yet nevertheless dull-witted. Sunanda therefore said to the Blessed One, "O Lord, my son was born handsome and good-looking, athletic and in possession of auspicious marks, and yet nevertheless dull-witted. How, O Lord, may he develop insight? Lord, if this child becomes literate, he shall become a protector of your doctrine." Upon hearing this, the Blessed One, with words preceded by mindfulness, spoke this manual of practice and gave this mantra. As soon as he had done so, Sunanda's son, Rohini Kumara by name, acquired insight. By the 12th year he was free from being intimidated by any of the treatises, as he was thoroughly acquainted with all of the crafts and arts. Therefore, children of noble family, in order to accumulate great insight, you should study this very mantra and its manual of practice. Then the Blessed One spoke of the magical power of sky travel. Mercury free from the mountain defect, one should properly obtain, place in a Vajra hollow, and grind with the world protector. Again, one should grind with Dhammarasa, with Yavatitika, and the juice of Akukani for a period of 3 days. The sap of Vanjar and Kakoli, the sap of Bhaskara and Vajra, the juice of Avidasravana, and breast milk. With these it should be blended. Having washed this mercury 7 times with acidulated rice water, one should grind it, put it in an iron pot, and cook it in a lump of Virdadaraka dough. A lump of Kanaka flowers one should certainly spin on the top and the bottom. When the root mantra has been recited 100,000 times, the mercury will revolve clockwise. Upon that which is infused with the sun of sulphur, one should recite the mantra, and in an iron pot placed over fire, pour a little through the method of pulverization. When the sulphur has melted slightly, sky leaf is infused and smelted. Thereafter, subsequently gold and makshika is infused. Then silver and copper should be infused, and similarly iron 5 times. Everything else should be infused 6 times. It will then become equal to the light of the sun. With 1 gunja of this, an experienced person will transform a great quantity. If a pala can be transformed with masa, it should be known that the mercury has been perfected, kept together with mesa shringi. The vajra should be killed with the sap of snuhi. The bodily products of a female muskru are to be infused into the perfected mercury. When this has mingled with the mercury, emeralds and so forth are also to be infused. The Kurukulla yogin should dissolve a pearl on account of the eye. Taking always just a small amount, he will take pleasure with 100 women. With just 7 nights of practice, the adept will be flying through the sky. This is the Tantra on the use of mercury for journeying in the sky. Taking a ball of lead, one places it in a vessel with bakula seeds. Having placed it in a vessel with the blood-dripping kantu, one places it in a red earthen vessel. Together with mercury, the lead will undoubtedly die. It is mixed with 1 pala measure, and afterwards with 60 palas. As one practices correspondingly, a lump of silver will be produced. As Tārā grants the accomplishment of silver, one is able to benefit sentient beings. With the welfare of sentient beings comes the accumulation of merit, and from that accumulation, complete enlightenment. This is the Tantra on silver practices. Nilacrona flower, as has been explained, is known as the blue chitraka. For a month, the yogin should drink this with milk. His life will extend for 1,000 years. Having obtained the black through the speech of the mantra, the yogin should place it in a bamboo vessel. If he practices on the 8th day of the lunar month, he will live for as long as the sun, moon, and stars. Having obtained honey and turmeric, one should mix it with milk and drink it. One's lifespan will, without doubt, be equal to that of the priests of Brahma. Likewise, having obtained the banana-like fruit of the banyan tree, wherever that may be, if on a day of fasting one mixes this with milk and drinks it, one will be free from white hair and wrinkles. This is the Tantra on essence extraction. While observing the practices, the one who desires a son should drink milk with the flowers of the baka tree. If his spouse drinks this while fasting, they will receive a fortunate son. With this mantra, the vaka fruit should be mashed and mixed with milk. When a fasting lady drinks this, she will gain a son with the characteristics of a king. She who, having washed with milk, drinks the root of lakshanasa, will obtain a fine son. Resembling Siddhartha, with perfect physique, he will be undaunted by weapons and treatises. Having uprooted the jala shitala plant, or having obtained its root, one consecrates it 7 times with the mantra and binds it to the hair. For 1 year, this will prevent infectious disease. When, having obtained the root of kanaka, the yogin places it in the hair of someone who suffers from the quartan fever, that person will be relieved from his plagues. Brick, smoke, wine, acidulated rice water, along with the essence of the double Ra king, should be placed on a copper plate and blended with the milk of a woman. When applied to the eye, it will cure diseases of the eye. Having pulled out the root of a white ukata plant, one consecrates it with 50 recitations of the mantra. Drinking it with milk, as much as one likes, will render the fine mark of a powerful man fit. That which is well known as nagasala generates, when mixed with milk, the male organ's power to produce plentiful offspring, subsequent to 50 recitations of the mantra. Orpiment of bovine origin, tongue of a toothless man, and the roots of nirparaja. When the moon is in the Subha asterism, a tilaka should be drawn on the forehead with it. Upon sight, the tilaka will enthrall the triple world. Having obtained a dead body's eyes, heart and tongue, forehead and likewise nose, when the moon is in the 8th lunar mansion, frying these in sesame oil will make one the enthraller of people. The eye unguent of the king of snakes, the remedy of bad eyes, the blood known as the flower. If such medicine is applied to one's eyes, it will seduce the king's queen. If, having recited the mantra 50 times, one places one's foot on the ground in pursuit of treasure within it, and the foot thus put down then vibrates, it should be understood that a treasure is present there. If the upper part of the foot twitches, it is nearby. If it is the sole that twitches, it is far away. Relying first on hearsay, the knowledge holder should look downward every day. Whoever applies the excrement of the musk shrew together with bdellium will, merely by doing so, stay clear of mad elephants and emerge delightfully. If the milk of an entirely black bitch, having been churned, yielding fresh butter, is applied to shoes made of camel hide, then wearing those will make one walk on water. When the thorns of yellow samkuka are gathered and hidden in the wilderness home, if the wine is broken and then it is taken out, that one will become truly excellent. If the fire that burns a potter's wares is fed with a log struck by lightning, it will not burn. Yet if sprinkled with alcohol, it blazes again. Reciting the mantra taught before upon the stock, and so teaching the consecration through mantra to merchants, the yogin accomplishes the sales, and the merchants win great profit. If in a vessel for wine monkey feces have entered, the wine and the vessel are ruined. Washing with Kurukullā will render it usable. If washed with Kurukullā water, the baby will be cared for by the nanny. So too, through Buddha Kesa incense, the saffron-robed will be healed. If a child vomits breast milk, the ashes of burnt peacock feathers should be bound to its neck. Through this supreme method, it will be healed again. When the ritual of Yada Kabaka is inscribed on a piece of lead and kept inside the mouth, one will escape weapons, bondage, and enmity. Possessing the letters Ksha, Ma, Ra, and Ya, all the letters are adorned with E. At the end of the authentic Kabaka, the 4 eggs and the 3 measures are each given 2. Dandotpala, Sarapunka, Nikula, and Girikanika